is Rule Techie Gamer Garza. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good
How are you doing
evening.
this?
Should be live. I hit live. Yeah, we're live. I just didn't get a pop-up, which is weird.
Do you use better Twitch TV?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really helpful. You get into a new stream and you've got like the last 4 or 5 lines of dialogue.
So yeah,
Whoa,
we're
you had me
actually
up on
going
the
live, and I pulled him in because we were talking games anyway, and brought up JRPGs, which is something I could talk about for hours. And I literally just bought one that I'm probably going to play for an insane period of time, which is Tales of Symphonia. Not tonight because, well, I'm running late with the show anyway because our show ran over. So I'm going to pop on Marvel Heroes now and play that for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, a standard JRPG nowadays, a good one. They'll get you at least 30 hours in main story. But because JRPGs are grindy, you'll have infinitely more than that with side stuff that you can do. Example of that is Disgaea 5, which, yes, is an SRPG. But it's about 30 hours main story quest. And the main storyline is great, amazing. But then I'm up to about 150 hours on it with side stuff. So
Yeah. One thing that bothers me with some JRPGs, I was talking with some friends of mine, and I was saying like the leveling grind is like it's just there to, I guess, pad the game because it brings the story to a halt.
yeah,
Completely to a halt just for you to grind levels so you can gain more magic. I guess it's to like show like, oh, you're actually training your heroes
yeah,
to
exactly.
use the more powerful spells.
It is meant to immerse you in it, but yeah, it does sometimes fail in that.
I
But-
think one game that did it well, which it's been a while since I've played it, Kingdom Hearts. I don't know if you remember, like,
Yeah,
after you do something, you would get like an ability, or you'd get like
well, I mean,
thunder for helping this person.
that's a good SRPG will do that. You will run into games like Final Fantasy 13 did not really execute grinding real well.
It was a very linear game until you got like what out of the tutorial, like at hour 24.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And once you got out of the tutorial, it's really fun, like insanely fun game. But getting there is just such a slog.
Yeah, and oh, what was it? And then 12. Oh my god.
Oh, don't even get me started on 12.
I know. I mean, like, there's some games they try and push this like, oh, you can customize 9,000 different ways.
Okay,
But it's like,
when I can't equip a helmet without leveling to get that helmet, that's where I draw the line.
yeah. Like, I understand about like leveling to be able to use like every single weapon. Okay.
Somewhat.
But like a helm, gloves or something like that, no. I mean, but I mean, I think some RPGs just overwhelm you by looking at the stat screen.
Yeah. So Kingpin, Taskmaster, Doctor Doom. Okay.
Wow, they've really changed up that UI, haven't they?
Yeah, they did. With 2016, they did a lot of changes with it. And I absolutely love it. They added controller support. I'm playing with my Steam controller. You can also play with the
wow.
Xbox 360, and it's still a little. They need a little bit of love for it, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, one thing I was surprised when I started playing Firewatch, I went to the controller scheme and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to set the Steam controller for mouse and keyboard or something like that. Nope, it had mouse keyboard support, joypad control for some reason, or gamepad, which I'm guessing is just a Xbox 360, and it also had DualShock support.
Wow. That's insane because
Yeah.
most of them won't have that. Most of them will only have freaking 360 support, which drives me crazy, by the way. Like, it's absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous that they only have Xbox support for most of these games. And I get it. It's Windows. But it doesn't make me any happier.
Trying to think what else. Oh, one game I want to play, which I've only seen a little bit of it. Well, it's a sequel. It's Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yes. I got Daryl gave me regular Tomb Raider, and I just haven't had the opportunity to play it yet. Mainly because I got addicted to Final Fantasy 14. By the way, if you want a good MMO that is very WoW-like without the absurdity of WoW, which kind of wears thin, Final Fantasy 14 is your way of doing it. The cool thing is with that, it's job-based, so like you can be level 60 is the level cap in the game. You can be level 60 on one job, and a friend of yours joins the game. And, of course, they're level 1. All right, I leveled my tank up to level 60. Okay, I'm going to go level my pugilist, and that pugilist is level 1. I can now play with my friends without feeling bad.
Okay.
And they do an interesting subscription model. Yes, it's pay to play. But it is sorry, I'm distracted by killing things.
Yeah, I'm watching you too. What I was going to say about Tomb Raider real quick while you finish clean up the bank office building.
Fisk Tower.
How
How do I get that map back to where it's supposed to be?
I fell in love with with the first Tomb Raider, the 2013 Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Because the controls were good. And the story was not terrible. I mean, it was a good, engaging story, but like everything just felt so right. And from watching someone play the second one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, they said like I'm like watching them play is like, wow, that looks like the same movements from the first game. And I'm like chatting with him, and he says, yeah, exactly the same control scheme.
Which is not a bad thing. So.
Yeah. Which is, I don't want to say unique, but yeah, in some cases, they'll change the control scheme because they saw, oh, this doesn't work in this game. We need to change it for this game.
Uncharted did that, and it drove me crazy. They fixed it in the Nathan Drake collection, but if you played the original Uncharted 1 and 2, like the control schemes changed drastically between 1 and 2. And yeah, they improved it in 2, but it's still the fact that it changed, and that threw me off.
Yeah. Going back to RPGs. Well, oh yeah, I guess you would call Fallout 4 an RPG, right?
Oh yeah, it's straight up RPG, especially Fallout 4.
Yeah.
It's less shootery and more RPG. So, I mean, it's Skyrim with guns.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and
I
the
love.
thing with the thing is that okay, Tomb Raider, I'm playing the same game, but because I enjoyed the controls, I enjoyed the combat, it felt great. I would just play it for like a couple hours, and then by the time I know it, I'm like halfway done with it.
Yeah.
But like something like Fallout 4, I pushed myself, finished the story. I wanted to at least finish the story so I could like okay, I'm done with the story. There's no more spoilers. And then there was no. I know there was other branching paths I can pick, like other side quests and all that. But it didn't feel engaging to me. I mean, I know there's some people that just want to see every little thing. I didn't see the reward of it.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I mean, like the combat was your generic first-person shooter,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
yeah, I mean, the main bulk of the game is the dialogue. I understand that, but I mean, it's not my cup of tea,
yeah.
as one would say.
No, and I get that. I mean, obviously, with any game, your mileage may vary. I mean, the fact that I love, say, Marvel Heroes doesn't mean that anybody else is not going to like it. Um, but, you know, if you are drawn to a game like that for something, and all of a sudden nothing else is there, then something that you don't like, yeah, it's like, you know, one Veronica Belmont plays it strictly for building houses. You know,
Oh, Housing Simulator 2015.
yeah.
Yeah.
And as we just discussed, I'm like, ooh, a new. What do you mean I can RPG tag? Oh God, it's village building. No, that is not my cup of tea. I played a little bit of Fallout 4. I have it on the PlayStation 4, but my PS4 time is limited, and I'm not going to re-spend my money on it just for mods. So it's the fact that a lot of it is just village building to pad hours is not okay with me. Like even in Skyrim, like, hey, you could build up your house. I'm like, nope, I want to go kill dragons.
Yeah, I mean, like Skyrim, I mean, I know I would enjoy it to a point, but then you have blacksmithing. There's something one problem I have with RPGs is that, like, okay, I can buy this sword, or I know as soon as I buy this armor to make me stronger, 5 minutes later I'm going to find something stronger.
Yeah.
I feel that about blacksmithing as well. It's like, oh, cool, I'm going to spend like 2 hours on getting this badass sword. I go into a dungeon, and what do I find? A better sword.
Yeah. Yeah, with any game with crafting grinds like that, you are going to run into that. I mean, WoW is big on that. Like, oh, okay, I can craft, you know, this amazing thing, and then I go into a raid, and oh crap, all of a sudden, the Fisk has freaking immunity bubbles. What?
Well, yeah, I mean, the only time I believe blacksmithing is like really worth it is like end game raiding, isn't it? Because you need items from the raid to make the item.
But then, I mean, you can still get a drop off of a heroic Archimon that is better than that thing that you just spent thousands of gold on and spent 5 to 7 hours grinding up the mats to get.
Well, yeah, but you need that to get into the advanced raid or whatever they have now, into the heroic raid.
Yeah,
it's crazy because it's like, oh, I think they have, oh, what is it now? It's the flex raid,
yeah,
the LFR, and then the actual real raid. Real raid, I mean, where you actually have to be
the raid
in an
as
actual
you
group.
once knew about it.
Yeah, and then you have the heroic and then mythic raid.
Yes.
With mythic, it's supposed to be like insane, right?
Yeah, heroic. Okay, what it is there's the regular dungeon, which is what it was before. LFR is the regular dungeon. Then there is heroic, which is what the original one was before. No, sorry, I don't play WoW anymore. I just follow a lot of gaming news.
I've been clean, I think, for about 1.5 years already.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 sucked me back into the MMO thing, but it's in a different level. But it's okay. You have the LFR, which is easy mode. Then you have Flex Raid, which is what the raid was before. Then you have heroic mode. No. Flex raid is slightly easier. Heroic
Yes,
is
because
the
you
original
can
raid.
go in with, yeah,
And then
because you
mythic
can go
is
in
heroic.
with less people, right?
Yes.
And but yeah, I mean, like I think they've added where you can go back and they'll scare your gear down, and you can run older dungeons. Like a friend of mine was telling me who's still in it, saying that they were running Northrend dungeons,
Oh, that's cool.
and like I remember we used to run those dungeons, and you had to know the fight in the
Yeah.
beginning, but at the end you could just tank and spank the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's in there and he's like trying to explain to these guys, you can't do that. We're not over geared. Not over
More
geared
deeps.
anymore. They
Whelps
put
on the
it
left
as-
side.
Exactly. I mean, but man, I really hope the next expansion. I want another Lynch King. I want another Wrath of the Lynch King.
Yeah.
I love
I don't know.
that expansion.
I'm still like, I'm reading a bunch of stuff about Legion, and I've played on my friend's alpha account some, and it's just I've lost that bug. As you put it, I've been clean for too long. Like, it's almost like somebody stopped smoking, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm in this place where there's a lot of smoking, so I'm gonna pop open a cigarette," and it's just like everything it's completely gross to them.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing when well, it's the same thing, the withdrawal with soda, like
Yeah.
or Coke or pop, whatever part of the country you're from.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, pop, soda, Coke. Okay, in Texas or in South Texas especially, when we say Coke, we don't necessarily mean Coca-Cola.
It's everything is Coke. Give me a Coke. Is Pepsi okay?
Yes.
Yeah, Pepsi Coke.
Yeah. Where was I going with this?
Yeah, here it's soda, by the way. Everything is soda here.
I
If you say pop,
Oh, I
you're
just
more
lost
likely to get hit. I wish I was joking.
Oh wow, I just lost my train of thought. Where was I going? Oh, with WoW and Legion. Yeah, I think, I mean, Wrath of the Lich King was a great expansion. It was my first full expansion, but it was 10 levels. Each zone was distinct.
Yes.
And what I like about WoW is that they don't overflood you with information.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to play another MMO called, I think it was Blade and Soul or Soul and Blade.
Oh, yeah. Blade and Soul. Say Mountain
Yeah,
Blade is
and
the
I'm, like,
offline
looking
version
at-
of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at this UI and I'm like, holy crap, there's so much things here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's this, here's that. I mean, like, can we, like, slow it down for a second?
Yeah, Final Fantasy does a pretty good job at only revealing things when you need them. They took a lot of... I mean, I played the original Final Fantasy 14 when it first came out, and boy, that game was bad. But they've since taken a lot of tips from WoW, and whatever WoW does right, they basically copy it, and I'm okay with that. Because it's WoW with chocobos, and, well, that makes it even better. But, so, I mean... They do something like what WoW is currently doing with the new game experience, where things are only revealed to you when you actually need them. So yeah,
I mean,
by the time you get to level 60, you have a crap ton of stuff, but you've been playing your character for so long that it's all good.
yeah, I mean, you know where everything's at. You know how to play your character. That's why the level boost is good if you're like the same character, the same class, but you want to try it on like the Horde side or on the Alliance side.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. Power level a character that you've never played before,
Yeah.
you're completely lost at the higher level because you didn't grow with that character.
Yeah, I did that with Monk because that was my level 90. And I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
I wanted to play a Monk when it came out. Now I'm a level 90. What the hell is all this shit?
Yeah, and like the monk has a very interesting story tied with it. So it's like,
Yeah, and you completely
well,
skip all of that. Like,
do you
and
even skip the intro?
yep,
You have to at least get off the island, right?
it starts you. I mean that's pandas. That's any Pandarin
Oh,
starts on the
okay, but
island. Monks themselves don't have a class specific storyline except in their class quests.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's the Pandarins that have that. But you can make a Pandarin, and like the only selection you have when you say you make a uh, Pandarin warrior or Pandarin rogue, and that's your
Yeah.
updated one. The only selection you get is which side do you want it on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't do the panda level. I mean, it's the same thing with like the Worgen and Goblin. Like you just poof, you're there, and you're in. It's you miss something when doing that, especially when it's your first.
Yes. I mean, I would understand if like, oh, I mean, I've leveled up this Pandaren monk so high and all that, and I'm like, but my friends are on the other faction. But I mean, isn't it cheaper just to switch factions?
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I say like if you have friends on your alliance character that you still play with, and you're like, oh, you know what? I would power level my a monk on the horde side so I can play with my other friends over here, who are already max level.
Yeah,
I would see that's fine, but I do like that they're selling it for about this. About what is it like $60?
something like that.
Hmm. So what? Last night was your first time playing the Midnight Gamer,
Yeah. Um,
Midnight Geek.
Midnight Geek. Yeah, it was my first time doing it. So this is my second quote unquote show. Um,
Um, what time do you go in the morning?
well, right now I'm off of work for medical leave.
Oh,
So
okay.
but even so, especially on podcast nights, I'm up until 1 o'clock
Mhm.
or so anyway. So
Ah,
I mean, because I have a hard time going to bed directly after a show, especially like
mhm.
tonight, like with the Geek IO show that we did tonight. Dude, there's no way I would have been able to go to bed right after that
Oh
because
no,
that was
I'm.
emotional even for me. Like I had to stop myself a couple times while I was giving the eulogy. I'm like, okay, I have to pull it back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, usually after the show because I mean, like 11 o'clock. I mean, Central. It's like, oh, I'm like exhausted by that point. So I'm
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I'm
I'm
a night
out.
bird anyway. I'm a night owl. You know this. You saw me at Dragon Con. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I get my second wind at 10 o'clock at night. So like
yeah.
most people are like, and people are like, oh, it's because you drink coffee. No, even if I were completely off coffee, like this is me normally at around
Mm.
11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I'm if I'm in bed before midnight on any given night, it's usually because I'm not feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I can really stay up late is like if I've slept um, during the afternoon,
I get that.
and for me, I have that like, what's it called? I don't know if there's a name, but I have that like, if I can make it past like 2 or 3, I can't fall asleep.
Yeah, see, I can fall asleep at any time, any place, and drives those who sleep around me crazy. Um, I got Doctor Doom. When did I get Doctor Doom? I'm not complaining, but
You have Doctor Doom?
yeah,
Hmm.
I got Sunspot, Wasp. Agent Venom. Oh, I got Carnage.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember getting any of these. I said I'm not arguing, but I got Ant-Man. I got Ant-Man. I got Blade. See, the cool thing with Marvel Heroes is I actually have a partnership with Gazillion, the people who make this, and they give me character codes for pretty much everybody. Like, if you were to want to play this, I could get you character codes for most of the new people.
Wow.
Like, I could get you Ant-Man. I could get you. I think I have a Blade.
Do you just have to like play it so much, or?
No, I'm media with them.
Oh, okay.
Do I not own Iron Fist? How do I not own Iron Fist? He's my favorite character of all time.
Yeah, my coworker's favorite character is Squirrel Girl.
I have her. I don't really like summoners in this game. They're weird.
Yeah.
How many Eternity Splinters do I have? Mission log, achievements, roster, store. I have 690 Gs. How much is him with Gs? I don't understand.
All right,
how
CJ, I'm gonna take off.
All right, brother. I'm actually gonna be probably 900. Boo. Boo.
Done, right?
No, like I don't have. I just spent $20 on another game. Probably gonna talk to Gazillion and be like, can I get an Iron Fist code, please? The cool thing is I'm working with them to start up a podcast on this here in the next sometime this year.
Nice.
When time loosens up a little bit. So, and that'll be fun. Where the hell's my
because they're always updating this, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, dude, every single week. But I'm currently working with them, and I'm gonna see like what all I have to do to make sure that I don't break NDAs or anything like that. But yeah, they're gonna work with me on getting a podcast up and running for them. Tentatively called Midtown Madness, which is an event in here. But yeah, so that's coming sometime this year. Don't know when, and nor am I going to try and figure out a time for that either, because I don't want to give any kind of promises and end up not being able to keep them. But you got to go, so go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for joining me on the Midnight Geek.
Yeah, no problem.
Sleep well and good night.
All right, good night too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So yeah, that's Raul. That's Raul. He's co-host on the Geek.io show. You probably know him from some of his stuff that he does. He does a lot of streaming on Techie Gamer, twitch.tv/Techie Gamer. If anybody ever wants to come hang out, please join me. Send me an email, geekioshow@gmail.com, or send me a private message on the Geek.io show Twitter or Twitch. But yeah, it is actually 1 o'clock, so yes, while I started this a little late, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up a little early tonight because it's late. So I am indeed going to go ahead and go to sleep. So have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow, and we'll see you next time on the Midnight Geek.